Serious. Kristin got her fallopian tube taken out.
Hi everyone.
Hi everybody.
Welcome to the Kitchen and Jorn show. Today is a very special Kitchen and Jorn show, as you probably know because you clicked on this. You have an idea what's going on. You're gonna be like, oh, Kristin's gonna talk about something else that's broken with her. Listen, here's the thing. I'm just a person who has a lot going on, and that's fine. I also have a good life. My chronic illnesses and my good life sort of coexist in a beautiful little, I don't know.
I guess in your body. I think it's nice that you talk about these things. I think it's brave because I think it also provides space for people to talk about their lives. When we do make videos about your health or things that are going on, it's we also get a lot of comments from people who are like, it's really nice to see other people dealing with similar issues.
Yeah, so I have two boundaries at the top. The first one is, I know I have a lot of illnesses. Don't make that comment. I'm gonna delete it. The second one is, the next person to make a comment about my appearance is gonna get pinned and shamed. I swear to God. 99% of you don't do this, but ooh, I've been seeing it a lot more, and I am not liking it. So let's not do that.
Before we get into the video, thank you to Factor for sponsoring this. I guess we talk a little bit about that.
Should we talk about Factor?
Yeah.
Yes. Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Lunch.
We're back to talk to you about Factor.
Kristin, what is Factor and what do they do?
Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals directly to your doorstep.
The best part about these meals, they're ready to eat after 2 minutes in the microwave.
It's like this, like our lunch. I think it's really hard for us to get lunch together sometimes, We eat for our job, but we don't really eat for our lives.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like putting together a meal that has protein and vegetables and also tastes good can be
really
time-consuming and a pain for us. I've talked about this before, but I think for a lot of people who have ADHD, it can be really hard to keep up with your meals because I don't want to take the time to actually make something that's worthwhile. Another thing I love about Factor is that it's super flexible. You can easily adjust your meals or skip a week if you end up, like me, forgetting that you had a dinner with your sister scheduled.
So let's talk about what we're eating.
I'm eating a black pepper pork chop with creamy broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I'm really excited to eat. What do you have?
I'm eating the garlic and herb chicken breast with smoked cheddar cauliflower grits, and also got a little broccoli too.
What I love about Factor is that all of the meats are so tender. They're sauced properly. There's the right amount of salt. Every Factor meal I've had, I've thoroughly enjoyed. And this one is no exception.
Yes,
how's yours?
This is so delicious. Sometimes I'm really relieved when the thing that I've been given for lunch is genuinely delicious. I'm just so thankful for this food right now. Head to factor75.com or click the link in the description box and use code 50KitchenandJorn to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's 50KitchenandJorn to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
I guess we should go back to the video now, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Factor, for sponsoring.
Thank you. We're gonna finish our lunch first, though.
Yeah.
All right, I've eaten lunch, so now I can get into this.
It's time to talk about chronic illnesses.
The headline is, I have to get a hysterectomy this year. Here's the thing. I knew I was gonna have a third surgery. I didn't know it would be this one. There are different kinds of hysterectomies. There's partial hysterectomy. There's a radical hysterectomy. Radical hysterectomy is when they take everything. I'll have probably what's called a partial hysterectomy. They're gonna take my uterus and I think my cervix, but they're gonna leave my right ovary. So my right ovary will just be chilling in my body like a golf ball in space. But I remember when I was talking to the doctor, I was just like, wait, you can just leave the ovary? Isn't it attached to the uterus? He was like, no, it has its own blood supply. And I was like, sex ed is very bad in America.
I thought the ovaries were welded to the uterus.
I guess I should start from the beginning. To start off, I basically have been dealing with this since I started menstruating. This is actually my original chronic illness.
The prologue.
Origins.
Uterus origins.
So basically, since I've been able to menstruate, I've had something called endometriosis. Endometriosis, to cut a very long explanation short, is basically when your body grows uterine tissue just wherever, just willy-nilly. Your uterus is like a college student. It just throws its dirty laundry all over the fucking place. And then mom has to come in and pick it up and be like, no one appreciates me. Pretend it's like that, except that there's just uterine tissue just all over your abdomen. And the thing about that is that it causes different parts of your organs and stuff to stick to each other. And these are called adhesions. I should say, I'm not a doctor. I'm sure someone will be like, that's a terrible explanation of endometriosis. Yeah, probably. Endometriosis is very painful. It's something I've been dealing with my whole life. It's not the only thing I have going on gynecologically. When I was younger, it was worse, I will say. I had 3 surgeries when I was a minor. The first, which I've talked about before, is I had a laparotomy to remove my left ovary and fallopian tube because they tubed.
Fallopian tube.
Okay, serious.
Kristin got her fallopian tube taken out.
Be normal. All right, we got. Okay, so I had it. Basically, a laparotomy is when they just kind of slice you down the middle and they just sort of like go, whoop, see what's inside. And that's when they took out my ovary and my fallopian tube. And then I had 2 laparoscopies where instead of slicing you down the middle, they cut little holes in you and then they have like little, the best way I can describe them is like little grabbers that they stick in your belly, and they use the grabbers to sort of do surgery. The 2 laparoscopies I had were for removing scar tissue. But the scar tissue always comes back because you keep having periods and your uterus keeps making more dirty laundry.
Keeps going to frat parties and you're like, ooh, peed on this, peed on that.
I guess I could just have like an infinite number of laparoscopies, but that's not feasible. To cut like kind of a long story short, I'm in pain in terms of pelvic pain, probably 2 weeks out of the month. It's not always continuous. Sometimes it's like I don't. Like today actually is a pretty good day. In fact, now I'm in pain again right now. Literally just started. So,
you knock it off!
She knew we were talking about her. She was just like, rawr!
I will say this too, as like someone who's close with Kristin, and I know this is true for a lot of people with chronic illnesses, but like you don't realize how much people are kind of just white knuckling through it. What's clear to me is pain is sort of such a common visitor in your life that your baseline is, I'm gonna be in some pain, but I have to do my life anyway. It's a wild way to live, and millions of people live that way.
I sometimes ask you like, oh yeah, you only take like what, 2 drugs?
Yeah, like 3 or 4, yeah.
I take probably 12 or 13. The good news is that when I have a hysterectomy, I won't have to take 2 of those things. So
Scores! If you're sick of taking your meds, just get your uterus out, girl. And the cool thing is, the doctor said when they take it out, I can keep the uterus in a jar. I'm gonna name it Frank.
Wow, I love that. Definitely what I wanted for myself.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I was like, I really hope a lesbian just owns a part of my body. Actually, that is kind of what I wanted.
That sounds great. I want that too.
Fast forward to now. I thought the conversation I was gonna have with my gynecologist was gonna be about removing a cyst from my right ovary for like, I think that's the 2nd or 3rd time now. My gynecologist, who I adore, who is really good, who I trust, who has done surgery on me before, you know, to give you a hint about like how much I trust this man, he put me under general to put in an IUD. If you know, you know. I had an IUD put in like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and it lasted for, I wanna say 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks were terrible because my uterus is too small, and so the IUD I got basically wedged itself in my cervix, and so it was just in my cervix for 2 weeks. I had what was described to me later as basically like low-grade labor pains for 2 weeks. I mention this because I've tried lots of things to try to mitigate the endometriosis.
You've sort of reached the point where your doctor was like,
he was just like, so you've been having pain for like 6 months, and I was like, yeah. And he goes, sucks. He was sensitive about it. He's like, look, here's all the things that we've tried. We've tried drugs. You've tried surgery. We've tried hormone therapies. None of this has made a difference. The issue is not the cyst on your ovary. The issue is that you still have endometriosis. The issue is that your uterus just isn't playing nice anymore, or hasn't ever really. He kind of very gently was just like, I think you'll get the best results if you have a hysterectomy. I kind of could see that I was sort of being like glad-handed into this a little bit, and I was like, be honest with me. Like, does this end in me getting my uterus out? And he was like, yeah. For pain relief, that's the only way. We have reached the end of the road in terms of like what we can reasonably do for you that will actually work. And I burst into tears. I cried at the office because I was shocked. He was like, look, you didn't do anything wrong. This isn't your fault. It's such a wild thing to be told, but like, it's a wild thing to have to be told, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not wild that he said it. It's wild that like I needed it to be said to me, because like, why would my brain even go there?
Your health issues, anybody's health issues are not their fault.
He was just like, if it makes you feel better, every person I know who's gotten this done has been relieved, has been like, I wish I'd done this like a decade ago. And then like, because you love Dr. Google.
I do love Dr. Google.
You Googled it.
Kristin texted me that this was happening, and I immediately was like, all right, let's do some research. And I found all these accounts of people who were like, getting a hysterectomy or a partial hysterectomy for my endometriosis changed my life.
What he said to me also was, listen, we could take it out now, or we could wait till you're 50 and take it out then. But do you really want to suffer for 10 more years for no reason? And it's like, not really.
Not at all.
I mean, when you put it that way, no. The first thing I felt, honestly, was like grief. And honestly, like anger, because I was like, well, then what the what was the point of suffering all this time if we were just gonna take it out anyway and it was gonna do nothing but cause me pain? Why did I go through all this? Like, why did I do this to myself? Like, why did I think that I was gonna ever use this uterus? And it's like, of course I was never gonna use this uterus. And then I was like,
but like, that's also like, the grief you're feeling, like, that is so reasonable and real. And like, it doesn't matter if you didn't think you were ever gonna use it. It's still like a very very dramatic shutting of a door.
It's like just one more thing that makes me feel defective. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like obviously compared to a lot of people, I have relatively good health. I know people are like, you're not healthy at all. And it's like, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'm on a YouTube channel. I have a stand-up career. I'm working on a book. If I was as laid out as you think that I am, I wouldn't be able to like be working on those things.
You do a million things.
I do a million things. So these are things that all exist alongside of my illnesses. Because like that's kind of, you know, what chronic illness is. You're sort of like trying to fit your life around like the limitations your body presents for you. What this kind of almost feels like to me is an opportunity to sort of relieve one burden that I have been sort of needlessly hanging on to for too long. When I get rid of my uterus, my endometriosis will be off my plate. And then you Google, apparently some people can.
Yeah, I Googled too far, and there are some very rare cases where people with endometriosis have hysterectomies and the tissue grows back without the uterus, but that's very rare, and I shouldn't have mentioned it, but I did, so I'm sorry. But we're gonna assume and believe that that's not gonna happen to you. I mean, if it does though, you'll see that video in a year.
Sorry, I know we're laughing a lot through this, but like, I'm honestly feeling okay. It's just something that I think a lot of people with uteruses feel
a sense of shame about.
A sense of shame about it, a sense of like fear about it. It's like there's a sense that like older women get hysterectomies, which is ridiculous because people do all the time and it's okay. Yeah. There are people who are very like adamantly like we shouldn't be using hysterectomies to treat endometriosis, which like, I don't know, I'm 40 years old. I'm not using it. I'll probably talk more about this as we get closer to it. I think it's gonna be the best decision for me. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on with me. If I didn't do a good job explaining this and I need to make another follow-up video about it,
let us know.
Let us know.
Also, if you're somebody who has gotten a hysterectomy,
let us know.
Talk to us. Like, tell us about your experience. We'd love to hear it.
Please. I can't believe that they're going to be able to remove my uterus laparoscopically because the holes are not very big. So, like, they're basically just going to slurp an organ through a straw. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
As long as it fits in the jar afterwards, that's all that matters to me. Oh, yeah, and I guess that you're good, but... Kristin, thank you for sharing that with us because I know it took a lot. And I just also want to say, if you're shit in the comments, I will say really nasty things to you.
Everyone thinks that I'm the mean person in the comments. I'm not the mean person.
And whenever you see a response from the K&J account
hostile.
That's like very, very hostile, it's always me.
This doesn't happen very often. Most people are very nice.
Yeah, but when they're not, they get me.
Thank you to Factors for sponsoring this video. Thank you for making life easier for
those of us with chronic illnesses.
We obviously post new videos every Friday at 12 p.m. PST, whether you like it or not. Take care of yourselves. Let us know what's going on.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.